was amused by the pains that Sen goes through in trying to convince the reader that Talwars were no more than middle-class people, and hence not really all that rich and well-connected as the media demonized them for. He finds no irony in highlighting the fact that Talwars had 2 fully staffed clinics, that they had 4 servants for the house, 1 resident cook, 1 man Friday, 1 driver, 1 cleaner, and 1 laundry woman, apart from frequent vacations and socializing and all the big shot lawyers who came to the defense, in trial court, high court, and Supreme Court. What they were paid is immaterial to the fact that Talwars were able to shore up big shot lawyers at every stage of their defense claims. None of this makes them guilty, but there's no need to categorize them as middle class just to humanize them or show them as victims. He showcases Talwars as martyrs of an unjust system, but even when their various actions are being described by him from that first day of discovered murder in 2008 to the day of their conviction in 2013, a conviction that was overturned by High Court in 2017, in every instance the Talwars come across as entitled, suspicious, and narcissistic. At no time do they mention a desire to know, not even once, as to who killed their daughter, nor did they invest any resources to try to find out who did the deed and why. At least none is mentioned here in Sen's book, and this is a 249-page book in small font, where he mentions all of their difficulties and problems and those encountered by their relatives during the investigation, during the trial, and after conviction pending appeal, but not a single one of them is quoted by Sen as saying the simple sentence, "Who killed Aarushi and why? We want to know." Not once. Where is the anger for their daughter? Where is the cry for help? It is me, me, me with both of them from start to finish, and they are at pains to describe how fond and good they were to their daughter. When early on Mrs. Talwar declares she didn't remember locking up Aarushi's room, an act which I found abnormal by the way, which allegedly provided easy entry to the unidentified murderer, Mr. Talwar never blames his wife or questions the omission. It's not even mentioned. Even in the Dasna Diaries written by Mr. Talwar during confinement, which are reproduced here in this book, the father chillingly writes, quote, 18th December 2013. Could anyone imagine where we would be on our 25th anniversary? No Aaru, no house, no clinic, no money, and sitting in jail for something we haven't done. Unquote. He forgets to add that a murderer is still scot-free. In fact, in the Dasna Diaries, he mentions a former UP minister and other people, his jailmates, being a famous celebrity paraded for jail visitors, his dental practice, in jail, but he never writes about the helplessness and anger a parent would feel at a murderer roaming free. Even after their release in 2017, Talwar's anger has been against their incarceration, not the fact that their daughter's killer is still somewhere out there, is still at large. I don't know the manner in which common Indian people announce their grievances, nor do I know anything about the Indian legal system, but given the magnitude of their grief, if genuine, and the massive attention this case got, Talwars could have announced that they had hired an independent investigator, or requested the Supreme Court to form an independent commission on the matter, or filed a suit for damages against police, CBI, CDFD, CFSL for bungling the case by non-collection and non-preservation of key evidence and forensics, or filed a petition requesting a thorough investigation and or arrest of the pillow cover guy, Krishna, that Sen and their lawyers and that sham scientist Dr. Vaya identify as one of the culprits. They did nothing. It's obvious in the book that their focus from day one was to look, behave, and speak a certain way and save their own necks which were increasingly thrown in a negative spotlight by the media and the police. It was obvious they were a target, but they should have done something more proactive about finding the culprit. They didn't. They insisted on a quick postmortem and cremation of their murdered daughter, and business as usual at the apartment a day after the murder. All the foreign experts that they wanted at their own criminal trial and all the money they spent on saving themselves, and all the help and access they obviously gave Avirook Sen for this book, some of it could have been used by them in getting the crime scene analyzed from independent, even foreign experts. Why rely on UP police and CBI to find the truth when they were clearly unbelievably negligent and were focused on declaring them as suspects and murderers? However, the Talwars did nothing. In this book and in every interview available on YouTube, even after their conviction was overturned on appeal in 2017, whenever the Talwars raised their voice, it was for themselves. When they created noise, it was for themselves. And when they acted, their actions were for them and them alone.
सदा जीवे नगम जीवे सदा जीवे सदा जीवे